most important thing is how you do that without putting, a huge burden on the user that all he wants is just to move $100 between his accounts.
Yaron, Yaniv, thank you so much for joining me on 20-Minute Leaders.
Thank you for having me, Michael.
Wonderful.
Great to be here.
Okay, so I messed up again, and it's happening a little bit more often than I'd like it. That we begin talking, and then I just forget to record because I'm already fascinated about what we're talking about. But I have the pleasure of speaking now to somebody who was one of the people responsible for the architecture of Visa's revenue streams. Just to put that in perspective, that's a company that deals with over 1 billion transactions a day. 1 billion. So quite a significant role, but besides that, office of the CTO of Silicon Valley Bank and LP at J Ventures, which I'm also a part of. So I'll repeat the question that I had before. Yaron, what does it take to lead the enterprise architecture for Visa's revenue streams?
Yeah, great question, Michael. And you can probably guess, being part of Visa, pretty massive company, in more than 200 countries all over the globe, and dealing with that mass, dealing with that volume brings in huge challenges. So some of them are related to the ability to process that amount of transaction in such a short time span, right? Every day, 1 billion plus transactions, making sure that you process it.
In 200 countries.
Sorry?
In over 200 countries, you mentioned, which
in over 200 countries. In over 200 countries. Yeah,
all the protocols and
mind-blowing.
Mind-blowing.
And what's even more mind-blowing is that you would need to apply more than 10,000 rules on each and every one of these 1 billion transactions, and make sure that it's taken into account in terms of how you bill it and how you service it and how you price it and how you aggregate it, etc. So this by itself is two pretty massive challenges. Add that to the fact that everything needs to be well secured, compliant. Everything has to be audited to the cent, and everything has to really work and play as in a concert with no disruptions whatsoever. That really adds, quite a lot to the mix.
I have to say that I recently developed a software that is able to make 1,000 small calculations, in a few seconds, with microservices and all that sexy stuff, and I was so proud of myself. And now I just feel so small when you're talking about 10,000 rules over each transaction as a part of 1 billion. So you have my appreciation.
Everything is relative in life.
That's the first lesson from this talk. Fantastic. Okay, continue. Sorry.
No problem at all. So all these challenges, and why you need to continue and develop the infrastructure in your software stack, and the ability to innovate and to be open to innovation. Dealing, of course, with very some of the systems that are super legacy, modernizing that stack, fostering, the ability to open up and be able to serve different organizations, internal and external. That was quite a wild ride.
Yeah, I'm sure. So give me a little bit of the day-to-day of. Is it stressful? First, is it stressful managing such a critical piece of the financial puzzle?
There's a lot of stress involved. Yes. Again, revenue systems, you have to deal with money, and money is really critical. So we got into situations when we were at some occasions missing even a few pennies here and there, even a few dollars here and there. Things did not match, things did not settle. And because of Visa reputation and the commitment to be always 100% up and accurate, there were some stressful situations where we needed to make sure that everything is well reconciled, and we were able to send the settlement files and payments over, or essentially charge the different clients the right amount. So definitely some situations there. in addition to the ability to process that volume within a short time span.
How many people were involved with this whole engineering feat?
There were not huge amounts of engineers involved. I don't want to sound like we had 10,000 people on the ground, essentially, working to get this machinery going on. It was around 100 to 150.
Wow, well, it's
across the board.
Incredibly impressive, and I have to ask because what am I staring at? Where are you right now in the world?
So this is actually Tongariro Pass, which is northern island of New Zealand, and I actually have a habit of keeping my virtual background in Zoom rotating across all the different hikes I did across my 40 plus years on planet Earth.
Incredible. What's your favorite hike?
That's one of the top 5 for sure. It's like asking, somebody who's your favorite child.
Yeah.
I like them all. They're just different.
Is the lake actually green when you're there?
No, it's just it's kind of looks like it's green, but it's not.
It's not actually. Okay, great. So
very talented photographer.
Definitely. So Yaron, talk to me now a little bit about Silicon Valley Bank. What is that, and what is your role over there as part of the office of the CTO?
Sure, and going from Visa to Silicon Valley Bank, I needed to do some shifting. And Silicon Valley Bank is a commercial bank, which the population that it serves is the innovation economy. In fact, 65% of all the innovation economy money in the US is being processed through Silicon Valley Bank. And we have, a representation over all the main innovation hubs. So we have a branch in Israel, and in big one in the UK, and in Canada, and Germany. Wherever there's innovation spurring, you're going to find Silicon Valley Bank there.
What does that mean, a bank that its main customer base is innovation? What does that mean?
So we have a set of unique products that is really tailored and geared towards startups, private equity firms. And when we're saying startups, is everywhere from, Series A, Series B, C, all the way up to established companies that are already, in the NASDAQ and are already public companies. So we do have products that are tailored towards that cohort. We're specialized in products that are tailored towards that cohort. And that's really the secret sauce, so to speak.
Right, and then what? So how does that differ in the mindset when you're when you're working at an organization that is tailored to innovation with all the dynamics that it brings with it, right? Because I guess different from the average citizen or the average company that has a bank account. Startups go up, they go down, they raise 10 million, they lose 12 million. So how does that mindset shift?
Exactly right. You just said it. So you're talking about a cohort of clients that is very different, because an early stage founder, which has a team of 10, has very different needs from a corp fin client that is a well-established company with 500 employees that runs on $100 million cycle. So they have different needs, but they are all entrepreneurs. They all have a need to get banking and financial products from us. So that requires us to essentially have different facets of products and different lines of products that can cater towards these different sectors. In addition, we're working with entrepreneurs, and we all know what entrepreneurs are after, right? They need things that work fast. They need things that work slick. They need things that are tailored to their needs. And they want to do that from their mobile device.
Right.
So having a stack, having products that are tailored towards what entrepreneurs are after and their set of mind. And of course, they want things that change. I mean, today it's this, tomorrow it's that. They don't want to wait for 12 months for somebody to come in and come up with a product that's tailored for an ever-changing market.
Right, and I mean you're very strategically positioned within this financial tech industry. Is what really excites you about it? Why choose to go into banks? With your tech skill sets, I mean, you're wanted in every tech company in the world. So why specifically banking and finance?
So I think because of that very close interface with entrepreneurs. So Silicon Valley Bank sees itself not only as a bank. We're not that, an ATM you go and get money from and that's it. We're actually building relationships. So I have the opportunity as an architect to speak to many, many, many companies.
Really?
And explain to them and work with them and kind of give them an insight on what does it take to work with regulated financial institutes.
Huh.
And that is very precious information and something that companies really, really value. So we do that. We have the ability to connect between different clients of ours because we know that client A might be well integrated with client B. And sometimes we even adopt technologies that are coming in from our clients, which we always look at favorably.
Incredible.
So you get that ability to really work within that innovation economy, that within the innovation ecosystem. That was something that was really appealing to me. And that's something for example, Visa was very different in that sense.
Right, and I'm guessing it's also a different number of employees around the world, and the magnitude must be different, right? Because Visa is just it's crazy.
A juggernaut, exactly. So Silicon Valley Bank is a medium-sized bank, fairly small, smaller presence in California and in other areas in the world. But I think the culture also, because of the need and the ability to speak with and engage with entrepreneurs, the culture within the bank is very open, very honest, very authentic.
Right.
These are things that I really do appreciate.
But I have to really get to the bottom of this because you're saying that you're a technology architect within Silicon Valley Bank. So it's an engineering leadership role, correct?
So the interesting thing with what I'm doing is I'm sitting right in the junction between engineering, business, and product, and that's my sweet spot.
Right. So that sweet spot. I'd love to just learn a little bit more about what it means to talk to the entrepreneurs and to your customers while having all of these different hats on.
Absolutely. And I think what it does and what it requires you to do is to really think like a product manager, think like an engineer, think like a business person when you are trying to roll out technology changes and when you speak with entrepreneurs. So you bring in that multiple angles to the conversation. So if you think like a product manager, is what features, what makes more sense to invest in, what will kind of turn the needle or move the needle. When you think like an engineer, is how do you build your stack in an open way, with your APIs that you want to expose. So partners like Silicon Valley Bank can work with you easily. Where's your encryption of the data that you're going to save, your sensitive data, those type of specific areas that you can bring to the table. So you bring in a meal that's made out of few courses, essentially, not just a one-dimensional angle.
Yeah, no, definitely. And then you're not just drawn to the entrepreneurs in Silicon Valley Bank, but also as a part of venture capital, and you're an LP at the J Ventures Fund. So where does that interest come from, and how do you balance that interest with being inside of a big corporate?
Great question. So the fact that I've been working with entrepreneurs in the last 4 years certainly helped me kind of getting close to that ecosystem.
Right.
I think that it really triggered my interest into the VC community and into the capital community, capital funding community. I also feel very strong around keeping the mission that J Ventures has with keeping that the gap or closing the gap between Israelis and American Jews.
Of course.
We definitely see, opportunities there, and I'm excited about that mission. So a combination of those two together, that's really what was driving me over towards J Venture. Very happy so far.
100%. No, me too. But do you have that sort of like irkness or those like those goosebumps when you see the entrepreneurs? And do you have that sense of, wow, maybe one day I want to do go on an adventure like that as well, or are you happy with the intersection of business and executive technology within a large corporation while investing?
Can't lie, Michael. I always have something at the back of my mind that says, how about that idea? How about this idea? So I do have a few things in the back of my mind, but the opportunity just didn't presented itself yet, and it's all about timing and the right time and the right the right location. So my brother, by the way, is an entrepreneur, so he's kind of adding a lot of fire or a lot of oil into that fire as well.
At all the Shabbat dinners, I'm sure.
Exactly. So it's somewhere there. Hasn't been materialized yet, but life is short. Let's see what we do in the future.
100%, 100%. No, that's really fantastic, and I'd love to sort of shift and understand a little bit better about this, about fintech and about the financial world as it is. I know nothing about it except for the fact that I know how to swipe my credit card and hopefully check pretty often to make sure that my balance is above zero. I don't know much. Give me a little bit of your insight into what's happening, in 2020 with finance and how consumers are interacting with their banks, and where are we headed from here?
Sure, and digital is definitely the big thing. Digital, meaning that you don't want to call your bank. You don't want to send your bank an email. You want to be able to interact with your bank through digital means, through digital applications. If you own a company, if you own a startup or a private equity company, you want to have APIs, which are ways to interact with your bank without needing to even use a mobile app. You just hook in your systems through APIs, and you've got everything done automatically for some of your needs. So digital and automation are really big right now in the ecosystem. In the commercial ecosystem, even more, right? So if you do have a business, if you need to do payments, if you want to be able to shift money in between accounts, if you want to be able to pay different bills, you want all that to be very automated, very streamlined, very simple for you. You also want to have different payments and different ways to pay. And depending on how you want to pay, sometimes you're willing to pay more to get things done quicker. Sometimes you have the ability to wait with some of your payments. So you want to have the ability to choose between different types of payments. You don't want just to do wires 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Cards is another great example. Cards are blowing up. I mean, the cards industry is just, and Visa, of course, is a main beneficiary out of this. But the cards industry and the products on cards are right exploding. So loyalty and the ability to do so many things with virtual cards, pay your vendors, pay your employees with virtual cards. That's been a very hot topic as well. So it really is a lot around digital, around payments, around automation. That's what I would say are three main trends of what we see around.
And how does trust play into all of this? Especially as things are transitioning to paperless, or they have transitioned, but in some parts of the world, I was recently visiting Mexico with a friend, and we were sitting with one of the top startups there who are now helping digitalize the banking system in Mexico. And it turns out that most people there don't have credit cards yet and don't have digital banking yet. So how much does trust play into this whole transition that the world is going through?
I think so. So we're a commercial bank, so we don't work with individuals. We work with commercial entities. But I can look at trust from maybe a different angle for you. When we talk about identity,
yes,
and the ability, so think about it, right? We're in a world where fake reality is very much becoming almost the real reality in many different occasions. And you hear about use cases and occasions where folks were kind of pretending to be person X and calling person Y and telling him to just wire $1 million to that specific address and they were sure it was the CEO, etc., etc. So being able to transact financially in a safe way is huge.
Right.
And for that, there are different technologies. Some of them are coming in a pretty big way, such as voice recognition, such as biometrics behavior or behavioral biometrics, and other ways that we are also thinking of how to do that transactional journey, how to do that identification, multi-factor authentication, all that good stuff to make sure that you are you when you try to transact with us is critical. And the most important thing is how you do that without putting, a huge burden on the user that all he wants is just to move $100 between his accounts.
Exactly, Yaron. That's just fascinating. We do have to end soon, but I'd love to ask you the last question, which is 3 words that you would use to describe yourself.
Wow, 3 words. All right. So let me think.
We said 2 to 4. So
3 is a good median, happy median. So how about we go with humble?
Yes.
Very important to me. Very important for me to be in a place where people are humble. Curious, which really goes hand in hand with being humble, and really wanting to learn and understand more. And I think I am very focused. So I got this maniacal focus that I actually jump on things and I make sure that things are done, and very, very important not to get distracted. So
definitely.
that would be my 3 keywords.
Yaron, I think it's incredible, and I can't even imagine what it's like to even be a part of a team that, let alone lead it, that manages this infrastructure of, oh my God, today it's 1 billion transactions a day. I'm going to have to go back to my drawing board of 1,000 calculations in a few seconds.
You scale that baby up. You scale it up.
I love it, Yaron. Toda rabah. Thank you very much. And I'll see you around J Ventures.
Thank you for having me.
Take care.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye.